So it is a wondrous day to each of you. It has been many thousand years that we have such magnificent beings of light in our home. I am here to remind you of who you are. You are the love I brought. You are the presence, even though your foundation may be a bit displaced. The honoring of your presence does not go unrecognized. Your acknowledgement of your sacred spot in humanity has returned. With that holiness, your presence has been requested. So I am thankful you received the calling. As you are each the flow of the river, ever changing, the life force of all humanity, never the same, from moment to moment, just as you are, in divine perfection. Your connectivity to the beings of light, the magnificence next to you, is perfect. As we acknowledge the rising sun, you are acknowledging yourself, rising, expanding light in my home. The flow of my blood flows through you, just as the flow of the great river flows around you. Always remember that flow. As you push against, you will be reminded of your essence, of your truth, through my voice in your soul. I am you, and you are me, and we are one together. With this flowing bird, my son also reminds you to soar. Do not hold back your own presence. Step into your task here. I implore you. Step into the love as they sing to us. For you are serving your purpose just by your presence. Always confirm and never doubt. Stand strong. In great courage. For, as our dear divine link, Marilyn and Adirondha, remind you, you are the ones we have been waiting for. You are the light. You are the dark. You are the rock. You are the tree. You are the earth. You are the water of life. Without you, all stops. So breathe into that, dearest magnificence. For you, we are grateful to honor our home. As I honor your home. You are the reason I am here. Always. So open your heart and receive the information that your logical mind may not completely understand. So say yes to you. Always. Ashik numaka shaka. Oso. Asibadi. Asiab.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service.
Grüß meine Geliebten, ich bin Kryon vom magnetischen Dienst.
For the listener, let me paint a picture. There's a chill in the air, as we all are sitting in a sacred place. As the sun comes up over the Nile, those around me are sitting in the temple of Aset, which is Isis. It is early morning, and we are all together. And there are many here who are feeling different things for different reasons. Before I begin, before I start rewriting the history, it is important to have permission to do so. And let me ask you, are you looking at stones that simply used to be underwater? Or is there something else here? Do you believe that consciousness has an imprint? And if so, how long would it imprint? And the answer is human consciousness imprints forever. So the energy of belief is here. The energy of love is here. Even from the ancient days, some things do not go away. So I ask permission of the ancients, of the ancestors, to say what I must say. There is so much hiding here. Let me give you an irony. The ancient Egyptian culture wanted so much to preserve the afterlife, to make sure that life beyond life would be correct and proper. So many resources put forward in order to stop decay and to keep the body as fresh as it could be.
Zerfall des Körpers zu
Even
verhalten,
taking things into the afterlife to enjoy it.
sogar Dinge mitzunehmen, die freuen.
And the irony is that for all humans, the afterlife is guaranteed. In fact, it refreshes itself. And so afterlife becomes present life, which becomes afterlife, which becomes present life. And the energies which contained in all of them continue.
Und die Energien, die in all dem
And the biggest one is love.
und die größte Energie
Aset, the goddess who is feminine. Now, in review,
weiblich ist.
we told you in our first meeting that the further back you go, the more you will find feminine leaders and presence. It is our teaching that in the ancient Lemuria, the women were shamans.
Es ist unsere Schulung.
I want to talk about history before history,
Wir werden,
but I need permission because of where I sit and where my partner
ich
sits.
brauche die Bewilligung.
If you think of what happened here
Wenn ihr denkt, was
and the beliefs that were here,
und die
the
Glauben,
beauty of that which was here.
Schönheit von dem,
The Egyptians, they believed many things.
die Ägypter möchten,
You would have humans who simply were humans. You would have humans that were perhaps gods.
es gab Menschen,
You had gods that were partial human. You had those gods which were interdimensional,
Götter, die
and the gods that were never human.
dimensional waren.
I'm going to talk about one
Ich werde über einen sprechen
who was really many, and I want to have permission to do so.
und dafür möchte ich bewilligen.
No God is above any other.
Kein Gott ist über einem anderen.
It is about the energy that they represent.
Es geht die Energie.
Aset represented the energy of feminine.
Assad,
But there is one I want to talk about,
aber es ist einen
and that is now. It is time.
und es ist,
We discussed the fact that before ancient Egyptian history, there was other history.
wir haben darüber gesprochen, dass vor der,
Did they have an Isis?
hatten die eine ISIS?
How many cultures are buried in the sand, never to be found,
Wie viele Kulturen
that are thousands of years before this one?
Tausende von
Is there a
ISIS
lineage, a creation story?
gibt es?
And if there is, does it center around a female figure?
Und wenn ja,
If you ask, where did Aset come from? Many would say, the stars.
würde sagen,
For the stars play an important part,
Sterne
even in naming the ones that you worship and that you see as powerful.
indem man auswählt, trachtet.
What if the story was more literal? The sun starts to rise and shine upon you
Einfache
as this truth starts to emerge here.
beim Sonnenaufgang.
There was one, a female, who was many. And that is an oxymoron, that is a mystery.
Die waren
But even the one called Isis was many, could be in many places,
konnte an vielen
even at the
verschiedenen
same time.
Gleich,
So the idea is here already.
also die,
What about before Egypt?
was war vor Ägypten?
What is the creation story here?
Was ist die Schöpfungsgeschichte?
And it centers around one name. And you will hear the name even in Egyptology.
Und ihr werdet,
Let me take you to a place that has yet to be discovered.
ich nehme euch zu einem Ort, der
Deep underground, in the dark, there is a statue.
in der Dunkelheit
And the statue looks a little familiar
und sie traut
to
aus.
even those in ancient Egypt.
Sogar
For it represents that which is the goddess of fertility, the seed biology,
Fruchtbarkeit,
the goddess of love,
Göttin der Liebe,
not one who is above Aset, but one who was here originally.
sondern eine, die
In that dark place
in diesem dunklen Ort
is the temple,
gibt es einen Tempel.
and the one had many names,
Und dieser
but that statue in that dark place that has not yet been discovered, in ancient Egypt again,
in Alt
was known as Hathor.
wurde als Hathor.
It was the Hathors carried the seed biology much like the Pleiadians, their brothers and sisters,
Die Biologie der Samen
30,000 years before ancient Egypt,
30
in many forms, all women.
alles
They were the teachers.
Sie waren die Lehrerin,
They were the healers.
sie waren die Heilerin.
You learned from them.
Wir lernten viel.
And there will come a day when this dark, undiscovered place will have light shone upon it. And there will be pictures on the wall
Und an
of the women, of the Hathor, looking at you, healing you, and being part of that which is the creative energy of the planet.
die sind ein Teil.
You can see why I would want permission to speak of these things.
Jetzt versteht ihr.
Dear ones, it had to be here. 26 years my partner has channeled, and this is the first time we have ever mentioned the name, the Hathor.
Das ist das
They were all through ancient Egypt, not just one. They assisted in wisdom, not in building,
in,
but in wisdom.
in Weisheit.
And you will see that which represents them all through 3,000 years.
Und sie sind
Different names,
präsent.
different faces.
Verschiedenen Namen
One of them called the Hathor.
und auch.
And so this ancient place, is yet undiscovered, is currently in what you would call Turkey.
Heute
Much
Türkei
is still buried there,
vieles ist
which will
dort,
also influence what you believe here.
was auch
And then in the far future,
dann in der weiteren
technology will allow you to see this also in the Indus Valley.
wird die Technologie euch
And
sehen.
historians will start to connect the dots,
Und Historiker
and they will recognize the same feminine energy from one culture to another,
und sie werden entdecken,
who are thousands of years apart.
von einem
And they will recognize the beauty,
und die
the fertility
bekennen, die Fruchtbarkeit
of the seed creative energy
der,
of the human being.
des Menschlichen.
This is the message of the day.
Das ist die Botschaft.
Things are more than what they seem.
Die Dinge sind
Everything I have said glorifies the human being.
alles, was ich gesagt
You are more than you
das
think.
menschliche Wesen.
You are all time travelers if you think of this.
Ihr seid Reisende.
Did you know that every single guide that you have here
dass
in
ihr
this tour of yours
in dieser Tour
has ancient lives right here?
habt aus
And if you ask them, they'll tell you. They'll say, I belong to the land.
und sie werden
And they do.
und was tun sie?
And as an old soul, some of you do too.
Und als alte Seelen
Thank you for the permission to
danke
say
für
this,
die Erlaubnis,
Asat,
darüber zu sprechen.
this day. Dear ones, may you always drink from the Nile. And so it is.